The train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned North Western Railway. These are the stories of Sodor. Goods work, the lifeblood of any railway. While it's true passenger trains are essential to a company's public image, it's also true that a railway derives the majority of its revenue from freight services. Factories, mines and other industries will often utilise railways to transport their goods due to our efficiency and our affordability when compared to those services offered by the roads. And during the time immediately following Gordon and James's mishaps, when our reputation took a hit, the continued loyalty of our goods clients was really what kept us afloat, a loyalty that remained strong due in large part to Henry. When it came to passenger trains, admittedly, we in the Middies were on equal footing in terms of performance and capability, but Henry was the reason why we always held the upper hand in freight services, which is quite remarkable considering the somewhat sad history of our number 3. He was built in 1919 using plans stolen from the LNER's chief engineer, Sir Nigel Gresley. A cross between an LNER A1 and a GNR C1 Atlantic, his hybrid design meant he had strong pulling power but an inadequately sized firebox. This meant he always had difficulty building up and maintaining steam, causing him to break down on numerous occasions. The men who stole the plans from Sir Nigel were eventually arrested, and the LNER's board of directors was stunned when they discovered the fruits of their ill-gotten labour. Recognising his potential, Henry was assigned to Sodor, where he was given a complete overhaul. Not only did this fix his steaming problems, it allowed him to achieve his full strength, which was amazing. He became our heavy goods engine afterwards, much to the dismay of the Middies, who lacked such a locomotive in their fleet. As such, they often had to share the goods work between them, doubling or triple-heading the larger trains. That's not to say they were completely helpless though. Indeed, most of the time, the Middies' goods work was handled by a pair of CR-812s named Donald and Douglas, who often tackled the larger loads together. Unlike most engines in the Middies' fleet, Donald and Douglas were very pleasant chaps you could often hold a conversation with. However, James and Douglas did not like each other in the slightest, which is a story for another day. As it was between Gordon and Reginald, a rivalry existed between the trio over reliability, strength and other such petty matters. That's not to say they couldn't be civil towards each other. Indeed, from time to time, the 3 Scottish-built engines often found common ground in their work. Overall, thanks to Henry, we Nor'easters dominated Sodor's goods work for many, many years, but such supremacy would come to an end. It began during one of Henry's usual late-night goods deliveries to Barrow. As always, he dropped off his train on time and collected another one for the return journey. Like the rest of us, he was quick to leave the terminal due to its close proximity to the scrapyard. Henry made good time on his return journey to Knapford, but after crossing the viaduct, he spotted a certain pair of Scottish twins whose faces were as long as the goods train behind them. I'm sorry to say this would be one of those occasions when the trio would not be civil towards each other. "Evening there, lads. Having a spot of bother, are we? It's none of your concern, Henry. Aye, you just toddle off. Are you sure you don't need a helping buffer? Maybe a wee push to get you started? It sure looks like you could use it. No, thank you. All right, if you should change your minds, I'll be back at Knapford asleep in my shed. Night, lads." "Oh, I'd like to give him what for. He's not worth the trouble, Donny. Maybe not, but still. He'll get his, Donny. Remember what Mr. Zorro said about her new arrival? Oh, aye, that's this week, isn't it? I believe so. Let's see how high and mighty Henry is when he arrives." A few days later, something very peculiar happened at Lower Knapford, where Thomas and Toby were sleeping after a hard night's work on the Farquhar branch. I'm sure they were enjoying their well-earned rest when suddenly... What was that? I don't know, but wait! Over there! I didn't see the engine, did you? No, and I didn't recognise the whistle. I'll tell you what, judging by the sound, there must have been over 20 trucks in that train. Even Henry would be hard-pressed to pull a load like that on his own. I hate to say it, but maybe the middies got themselves a new engine. Why the middies? Why not us? Because if we were the ones getting a new recruit, Mr. Starr would have surely said something. I hate it when you're right, Toby. And right, Toby was. Not long afterwards, we discovered the engine in question was indeed a new addition to the middies' fleet, a Stania 8F named Peter. To be frank, this was a day we had long been expecting. Ever since 1935, the LMS had been churning out 8Fs from its workshop at Crewe to act as its primary heavy goods engine, so it was only a matter of time before one ended up on Sodor, and he certainly made an impact on the island's goods industry. Because of his robust design, he was able to pull trains of incredible scale, often single-handed. Needless to say, Henry wasn't too thrilled by his arrival, and worked himself hard to match this newfound competition. Unfortunately, Peter's efforts turned the goods industry in the middies' favour, and we began losing contracts to them. To make matters awkward, I discovered Peter was actually a nice chap about a fortnight after his arrival. That day started off like any other. I woke up fresh as a daisy, ready to take out the first commuter service. I was cold and watered, picked up my train, and off I went. Everything was going swimmingly as I chugged down the line, until I reached Lower Knapford, where I started feeling sick. After that, I struggled to reach the next several stations. As I would later find out, I had taken on some bad water that was slowly clogging my pipes. I wish I could say the service to my passengers was the sole reason I carried on, but my pride was also part of it. My overwhelming desire to show an old engine like myself was still useful. For the record, an engine in his late 40s was considered old. As I continued along, I dreaded what lay beyond Wellsworth. Gordon's Hill, as the Preston Incline had been renamed following our number 4's breakdown upon it. Just as a side note, when Gordon found out about this, he was not happy, unlike the rest of us. But getting back to the matter at hand, I was left wondering how I was going to surmount this obstacle as I chugged into the station. Okay, Edward, you've struggled long enough, but I think it's time to call it quits. No, Harry, I'm fine. Just give me a moment to catch my breath. You've been hard at it since Lower Knapford, Edward. Don't think I haven't noticed. Well, it's not like we have a lot of alternatives, do we? Wrong. We can have someone else take this train. No, we can't. We can't afford any delays, not when our reputation is as brittle as it is, and if you should break down on the hill, what would happen to our reputation then? Pardon me, are you alright? Edward, isn't it? Yes, that's me. Don't mind me, I'm fine. Just a little flustered. I think you're beyond flustered, Edward. He is. He's ill and he's stubborn. A dangerous mix. I have to get these passengers to Crovan's Gate. Scarlo will be waiting for them. Crovan's Gate? Just so happens I got to pass through there on my way to Barrow. What say I give you a pull along? Really? Are you strong enough to do that? So long as you can muster what steam you can, that'll help. Well, sure. Thank you, Peter. No worries. Just give me a moment to get into place and we'll get underway. What a nice chap. As Peter backed down, I was a little sceptical about how well this would work, but I really had no choice and coupled up to the back of his train regardless. You ready back there? Ready? Without delay, Peter surged forward. I was utterly amazed by his strength, how he pulled my coaches and I along like we were a pack of empty trucks. I'm sure we made for a most peculiar sight to Colin as he approached from the opposite direction. Hey, what's this? It wasn't long before we were at the slopes of Gordon's Hill, making the climb in short order. Here it comes! Give me all you got! Right! I mustered what steam I could. Together, Peter and I charged up the hill and down the other side without any worries. You see? Nothing to it. Well done, old boy! You alright back there, Edward? Absolutely fine, Peter. Thank you very much. No worries. Take care. Well, good morning, Scarloey. Good morning, Edward. What was that about? Why was Peter pulling you? Oh, I was having boiler problems, so Peter was kind enough to give me a lift. That was very decent of him. Yes, it was. And I'll admit my opinion of the middies has improved dramatically since this morning. Good to hear. With so many of you sharing the same tracks, it's about time you learned to get along. Truer words were never spoken, old boy. Morning, Diesel. Ah, Peter, there you are. You didn't come home last night. No, the drawbridge at Vickerstown broke down, so I had to spend the night at Barrow. Barrow, eh? I half expected you to say Knapford. What are you on about? Colin said he saw you helping out Edward. Are you off your nut? What's wrong with that? Peter, maybe you don't understand how business works, but you don't get ahead by helping out the competition. Hang about, didn't Colin once help out a nor'easter? There's a world of difference between letting an engine get blown up and leaving a museum piece like Edward in place, so that's your reason, eh? I shouldn't have helped out Edward because he's old? Brilliant logic, Diesel. Good morning, gentlemen. Oh, good morning, sir. Morning, Mrs. O. So, Peter, you helped Edward reach Groven's Gate yesterday, did you? Yes, sir. Oh, you're in for it now. Not quite, Diesel. Congratulations, Peter. Excuse me, sir. Congratulations, sir. Indeed. It turns out one of the passengers on Edward's train yesterday was a reporter from the Sodor Tribute who wrote a glowing article about how you selflessly helped that old iron reach his destination. This is marvellous. You can't buy this kind of PR. With respect, sir, I didn't do it for the publicity. I did it because it was the right thing. Right. Of course you did. Just make sure to repeat that if any other reporters come asking. Keep up the good work. What were you saying, Diesel? Grrr! I'm sorry to say that Diesel was not the only angry engine on Sodor that day, not after one of the workmen showed Percy and I the latest edition of the Tribute and a very interesting article it contained. I didn't doubt Peter was sincere when he helped me, but I did take issue with the title the upstart reporter had given me, one that would forever stick, one that I would eventually get used to. Old Iron. The article did benefit us somewhat, as my example apparently demonstrated our willingness to service our passengers, which saw a steady return of those customers. However, the Middies benefited most, as the article vividly described the strength of their primary goods engine, and we continued to lose ground to them on that front. The biggest blow came a week after the article broke, when we lost the exclusive contract to Sodor Logging. That night, we had a lot to talk about in the sheds. This is getting out of hand. Every day the Middies nick another contract from us. I blame that wretched Sodor Tribute. Oh, don't you start, James. You're just sore because they wrote about your breakdown with the Express last month. No, I'm sore because they misreported the facts. They said newspaper and bootlaces were used to plug the hole. Bootlaces! How did they get that? Can we focus on the situation at hand, that is our dwindling number of goods clients? Aye, going after the paper won't change anything. They'd be just as likely to print an unfavourable story about us then. Well, what can we do? None of us can match Peter's strength, not even Henry, and we can't work any harder than we already are. Again, neither can Henry. That hasn't stopped him from trying. Henry is running himself ragged, and I'm not enjoying a single second of it. Blimey, Henry, you look terrible. I feel as green as my paintwork. If you keep this up, you'll knock yourself to bits, Henry. And what's the alternative, Percy? Do I just sit back and let that wretched 8F take away all my trains? Do I not fight to reclaim what I've lost? Steady on, old boy. We're only concerned for your welfare. I'm sorry. I know you are. Look, I overheard what James was saying, and he's right. What else can we do other than what we've been doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That man has remarkably good timing. Alright, let's skip the formalities and get straight down to business. First off, I appreciate how hard you've all been working. You've all done exceptionally well, but it's abundantly clear to me that you need help. To that end, I've arranged for another engine to join us here on Sodor. Another engine, sir? What sort, sir? Heavy goods? Technically, he's mixed traffic, but he does specialise in freight runs. What's his name, sir? Eric. He'll be here sometime tomorrow, and I've ordered him to go straight to the oil depot at Lower Knapford. Thomas, I want you and James there to show him the ropes. Yes, sir. Oh, thank you, sir. We need all the help we can get. It's no trouble, Henry. You deserve it. You all do. There isn't a director in all of England who's more proud of his engines than I am right now. Good night, everyone. A new engine! How exciting! Oh, we didn't ask what class he was. As long as he's helpful, who really cares? This was an opinion shared by the rest of us, and we actually fell asleep smiling that night. The Lower Knapford Oil Depot was one of many projects built as part of the Sodor construction scheme. One of our regular jobs was delivering shipments of crude oil and petrol between the depot and Knapford Harbour. On this day, it was Thomas and James's turn to run these important deliveries. Oi, James, those tankers full yet? Almost. There was a problem with one of the pumps. Maybe they should have tried fixing it with bootlaces. Belt up, Thomas. Oh, lighten up, James. You gotta admit, it's pretty funny. No, I don't. All right, I won't joke about it again. Why don't I believe that? Whew! Is it just me, or are these fuel shipments getting bigger? Oh, they're getting bigger, all right. And it's no surprise. There are more cars on the road than ever. They're saying it won't be long before every household in England has a car. Maybe even two. Two? Blimey! And let's not forget the growing number of lorries rambling about. I don't mind saying the increasing road traffic has me a little nervous. I wouldn't worry about it. Even if it does get to the point where everyone is driving, I still think trains will have a place in the world. I hope so. Ah, James, listen, I just got off the phone with Mr. Starr and he needs you at Wellsworth right away. Why? Is something wrong? There's a goods train that Edward was meant to take, but he's been delayed. It's essential it goes out today. Hang about. I need James here. I can't run this lot to Knapford on my own. There's no point in arguing about it, Thomas. Or rather, not with Mr. Starr. I guess. You'll manage. You always do. Good luck. Manage? With these trucks and those tankers, it'll take me all day to run this lot to the harbour. I don't see that we have much of a choice, Thomas. Neither do I. But still, there has to be... Who was that? I don't know. I've never heard that whistle before. Hello, I'm Eric. You must be Thomas. Real nice to meet you. Yeah, that's me. Thomas. You're right there, Thomas? Sorry, it's just... Mrs. Starr told us we were getting a new goods engine, but you weren't expecting a tank engine, right? You get that a lot, eh? Pretty much. Can't say I blame no one. I mean, whoever thought there'd be such a thing as a heavy goods tank engine? Heavy goods? Really? Yep, there are a few trains I can't handle. Looks like you've got a few trucks there, Thomas. This lot going somewhere? Yeah, Knapford Harbour. Alright, let's get 'em coupled up and delivered. Can you take this lot on your own? I could, but I don't know the way. Well, I'll guide you to the harbour. Tops, sounds like a plan. When do we leave? Just as soon as I get turned around. Be right back. When Thomas returned from Elsbridge Harbour, where he had utilised its turntable, he found Eric already had the trucks marshalled. Blimey, you work fast. Like my old manager said, fast, fast and faster still. Well, Mr. Starr does value speed, but he also values engines who take care. I'll keep that in mind. Alright, here we go. I imagine Thomas must have had the same sense of exhilaration that I had when I was pulled by Peter. Eric truly was a heavy goods engine given the ease at which he hauled the trucks along. Under Thomas's direction, the pair sped down the line at a fantastic speed, baffling those middies that they passed to reach Knapford Harbour in record time. Blimey, that was incredible. Well done. Thanks. Hello, Thomas. I see you've made a friend. Yeah. Toby, this is Eric. Eric, meet Toby. Hello, Toby. Hello, Eric. So you're our new addition, eh? I wasn't expecting a tank engine? Yeah, I get that a lot. Well, I must say you've made a very good first impression. In turn, we all made our acquaintances with Eric, who became firm friends with us all, especially Henry, who was thrilled to be working alongside another dedicated goods engine. Between them, we steadily regained lost ground to the middies, reclaiming several clients and making new ones. Mr. Starr was very right to bring Eric into our ranks. He became a real asset, especially to our operations on the Farquhar branch. But that's a story for another day.